Diane, I'm listening to a podcast, Black Lodge Trivia Night. I've never heard so many game aspirations in my life. Welcome back to Bonfire Walk With Me. We are a Soulsborne discussion podcast. We've been doing a little bit of Demon Souls. We've been sort of marching our way through World 1-1, World 2. And then if you're wondering, why don't we just move on to 1-3? The answer is because you can't. We think we mentioned this maybe in the end of the World 1-2 episode, but there's a little bit of gatekeeping that goes on, and you have to kill an archdemon in order to proceed to World 1-3. So in my first playthrough, and I think Matt in your first playthrough, I just naturally was like, oh, okay, if I'm stopped at 1, I'll just go to 2. Was that sort of how you approached it?
Mm-hmm.
Or if you are familiar with Demon Souls, this is not what you should do. You should, as we were discussing when we were actually playing through it, you should go to 4-1. You should pick up the Crescent Falcon, and have a weapon that does a little magic damage, because if you take a melee build into World 2, it's just tedious. It's just trying to like tickle them to death. And you barely do any damage. You get a lot of resources, and we'll get into this as we go, but so you can sort of build up your weapons, but oh man, at the beginning it's going to be rough. So
but even if you get those resources and then build up your weapons, you can have like a +5 bastard sword, and it doesn't do anything which you're right, you get into. The other thing you could say, I'll mention, is you could go get the Blessed Mace, which I think is in 5-1.
Does that need
Something
world
like
tendency to get, or is it just there?
I think it's just there, but that's if not. Right. Anyways, any kind of magic can do. Now, those are the ones you need to get the magic upgrades, because eventually you unlock the guy that lets you get more magic stuff, and so. But
yeah, so I mean, that's a little pro tip. Like, go somewhere else and get one of those 2 weapons: 5-1, Blessed Mace; 4-1, the Crescent Falchion, because otherwise. And I remember we were doing it in real time. We were chatting, and I was like, I'm not doing anything, and you were even like, you should go get a magic weapon, man. And I was like, oh, right. So once I did, I just cut through them. But
let's just start with this, because since we're on it, unless you had something else you wanted to get out first, like, I really want to talk about the theming of 2-1, but I think since you brought this up, if you're good with it, let's
go with it.
So like, you're fighting these these guys with very thick skin, and we can talk about the theming of them, but weapons do jack shits. And then the Falchion basically makes them laughable. Like, you swing, they're dead. Whereas if you have like an upgraded axe, it is nominal amounts of damage. They're resilient as hell. And if you get caught by one, they do a lot of damage. And then to top all of that off, because this is a world that rewards you with upgrade materials, you get shit for souls.
Yeah.
And only there's specific enemies, so they're minors, and there will be guys that do not respawn that are carrying bags, and they drop a bunch of upgrade materials. So it's only specific ones that are really guaranteed to drop the upgrade materials anyways. It makes my enjoyment of 2-1 especially, and 2-2 does have a similar problem depending on the route you go, but 2-1, it just, if you don't have that, it's a grind. And if you do have the Falchion, then it's laughably easy. And so the whole balance of World 2-1 is off for me, because if you do it the legitimate way, it takes way too long and you don't get souls. And if you go the Falchion route, and if you're competent, you're just going to steamroll through most of this.
Right. So with that, let's introduce World 2.
I guess we should do that.
Is you get through it through the second Archstone. It's called the Archstone of the Digger King, or the Burrower King, maybe. It's one of the other two. That's sort of what it's described as. The picture on the Archstone is kind of like a classic dwarfish profile. And so you can sort of start to fill in, oh yeah, dwarves, they mine, you can figure out where this is going to go. And it's called the Stonefang Tunnels. And the first area of it, World 2-1, is called the Smithing Grounds, and it's what Matt was just talking about. And yeah, so you're introduced right away. You know, the basic idea of the level is you start obviously at the Archstone, and you make your way through sort of like this structure that I want to get into this a little bit, that sort of has like 2 ages to it in my mind. There's like the stonework, but that's all falling apart. And then there's like a lot of wood and like you're like, it's sort of like, they're renovating the outside of a building kind of, kind of stuff like, and anyway, so basically you're making your way through until you can get to an elevator that lets you skip the first chunk. And then you sort of make your way through again until you pull a lever, which stops a water wheel, which then diverts water to cool lava that was actually just spilling into a walkway. It might have been a prison, like there's cells or something down there. And then once you cross that, you basically make your way around what looks like to me like this giant square, which I could see as being maybe like a forge of some kind or something. And then you make your way down to the boss, which is the spider demon. So that's not like precise, but the basic idea is you're just trying to get through this sort of opening area. You trip a few things to create a shortcut that gets you to the first boss. And the shortcuts are mainly sort of like elevators. They're sort of like these, almost like a dumbwaiter kind of thing, but writ large. And, you just hop on the platform, you go up, and then, you go back down. And there's a couple of them throughout the level. And the main one is actually right by the starting location. So it's very much, I think in the end, once you get the shortcuts going, it's not too bad. But as you were saying, like if you've got the wrong loadout, like just getting there the first time is brutal.
My first playthrough 2-1 was brutal. And then recently going through it, I was just like, this isn't near as bad as, because I'm not a fan of 2-2 at all. But I honestly thought that like 2-1, actually going through it with a different lens is the environmental storytelling is actually kind of impressive.
Yes.
And not just from the structures, and I mean it's a mining complex, but also the enemies you run into. And then something I noticed on this playthrough that I never bothered to look at, if you look out on the horizon, you're up on the face of a cliff, but across from you there's like a town.
Yeah. So before we go, let me just read a little bit. Like, this is sort of like the Archstone text. It says, a city of miners who maintain the giant tunnel. Long ago, the efforts of the hard-headed burrowers, which again, the burrower king that we were talking about on the Archstone, allowed Boletarian soldiers to carry out their work. But now, dispossessed of their souls, they have no thoughts of their own and work in silence, tirelessly, without purpose. And that's sort of
shit.
Yeah, so that's sort of describing the main enemy. The main enemies are called scale miners. And if you're wondering, like, why are they so hard to beat with a melee weapon? It might be right there in the name. But yeah, and the reason why I want to talk about that is because, like you said, when you're looking out on the horizon, there's like, almost like when you're looking at like the Lord's Path, you look over and you see the whole city of Boletaria. You're sort of looking at the city, and the question. So what I was trying to say earlier is I try and figure out, is this like a level of two ages? Because they talk about the burrowers, right? The burrower king is the reason why the Archstone is there. But the creatures are not burrowers. They don't look like burrowers. They're being driven by fat officials. That's not a burrower. That's Boletaria.
Which I love. That was one of the environmental things I was going to say. You have these fat officials that we meet in World 1 being the work bosses of these miners.
Yes, and I want to give credit where credit's due. I was watching one video online a little while ago, and I'll see if I can find I'll definitely link to it. I'm just trying to see if I can find the name of the guy, and I wrote it down, and I can't find it at the moment. But he pointed out something very interesting. The weapons that the fat officials carry in Boletaria are like halberds or some kind of like big sort of halberd or polearm or something like that. Here they carry whips because they're not fighting. They're not standing the line. They're slave drivers. They're whipping. And I thought like, oh, like I knew that they had whips, like obviously because I just opened it up and played the game a little while ago. Okay. Sorry. The channel's called Dave Control. I'll link to all this. The video I watched was Demon Souls Lore, Stonefang, and the Dragon God. And one of the things that jumped out at me was he was like, yeah, and here they have whips, and the reason why is because, these scale miners they're basically slaves.
I think that was clear to me I guess I never realized that in Boletaria they had something different.
Right. It's
obvious there that they have whips. These are slaves. They're making them work to harvest resources. I guess I didn't realize that in Boletaria was something different.
Right. So I thought that was like a nice little detail, like you were saying, like the sort of the environmental storytelling. So then I was trying to piece together, like, you've got that city in the distance. Boletaria would not need that city in the distance, right? Or do you think they would?
Well, no, this city is almost like a fortress compound. I actually took a picture of it because I was like, oh, wow, that's really interesting. I think I took a picture of it. No, I can't find it. It's not that interesting. I'm not going to show it anyways. But I was going to pull it up for my own shits and giggles here.
Yeah.
And nope, that's my picture of Boletaria. Anyways, it was like a mesa dwelling almost, but like a full-fledged town on top of one, like built. Anyways, I just thought it was interesting because I had never noticed it before. Now, but your description, I want to go back to that. So are the scale miners Boletarians? Because that's what that description sounded like. Yeah.
So the descriptions I encountered made it sound like they're a product of Boletaria's efforts there, not the original burrow miners. And so in my mind, so that's why I kept trying to figure out, like, do we know what happened to the burrowers? I don't. I'm sure lore videos might explain it out there. And then Boletaria steps in. King Alant, he starts using this stuff. Part of the stuff that Dave Control pointed out is like, hey, if you look at some of the Night Shield description, it talks about Stonefang tunnels using the iron from there. So clearly King Alant is using this as a resource to arm, his forces. And all of this to me comes after, in my mind, it comes after the burrowers. And so when I sort of look at the architecture, what I see is the old sort of stonework, and then tons of like this like decrepit wooden scaffolding. And I kept trying to say to myself, is the stonework the original burrowers and the scaffolding? Is that what King Alant did? Because they didn't want to maintain it. They don't care if it falls apart. They just need to be useful. And I don't know. Because sometimes I'd be like, oh, I think this theory is starting to come together. And then I'd see something like, no, okay, maybe not. But that was what I was trying to figure out when I was going through this time, is like, is this basically like a layer on a layer? Like, is the Alant Boletaria stuff just sort of bubblegummed on top of it because they just want to use it and they don't care just as long as it works and lets them get to what they need to get? And I can explain
stuff inside that kind of lends towards that too. I never had that thought. But I could also just see it all being kind of like one cohesive transition into the next. Which is a shame, because this is such a cool, and it's this is the first place. So I know we kind of wanted to give a quick run through, but you walk in and you have this merchant, and then you run across this bridge and these guys are bombarding you with boulders.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. And that feels like Boletaria, right? You're an invader. You're not wanted. Someone's defending it. But as soon as you get into the innards of Stonefang, these guys aren't immediately hostile.
No.
And this is the first time it's not as obvious as it is here in other levels, but you are, I mean, I already said you're an invader, but like, you're not really welcome here. And you're killing these guys for really no reason. Like, they're just workers. Right. And it takes a different tone than 1-1 and 1-2. Like, you're an invader in both those worlds, but this is different now.
Yeah, it's got a little bit of that vibe in Clerks when the guy's giving the riff about the Death Star union worker that's just trying to collect a paycheck. Like,
Right.
And I will say, since, yes, you walk in, like you said, they won't bother you for the most part. If you just walk through, the first ones that will attack you are dogs, I think, sent by the fat official behind the door.
The fat official, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So the fat official says, nope, we got to be proactive. But a lot of the guys will just sort of like, you give them a little distance. Yeah, they are just, again, like as we were saying in the description, they're just dispossessed of their souls. They have no thought of their own. They work in silence, tirelessly without purpose. And I'll say, like, my initial, I always try and find something. Let me flip that around. In Demon Souls, even when I didn't always like the level, I often found something to love about it. Mm-hmm. And the thing I loved about 2.1, it ends up into 2.2 as well, is that dispossessed of their souls, working tires. That is the most depressing existence I think I've ever seen in a video game. And it made me realize, like, so like part of the lore of the world is that there's this fog destroying Boletari and it's going to be the end of the world. And then you realize these guys, yeah, I mean, they've been, affected by the fog, and that's part of their, but this was their existence before that. Like, there are people that were already at the end of the world, so to speak, because of King Alon, not because, I mean, he introduces the fog when he awakens the old one to get the magic going again, but he was able to basically destroy people completely.
Yeah.
Without the fog. Like, he himself is a fog that created these people's existence that is just unimaginably, I don't know what word I'm trying to say. Sponsored by Gin and Tonic.
You make a really good point. I was going to make a joke that the saddest existence in Soulsborne was Rosaria's Cucks. The guys that turn into like fucking white hot dog snake dudes when you go to Rosaria's chamber in Dark Souls 3, like those cucks were like the saddest. Like,
yeah.
But that's a really good point. Like, obviously King Alon is why we're here, because he started to dabble in the soul magic again.
Right.
And fuck, that's good. I think there's some other examples, especially in World 5, of some really, I would say, messed up examples of existence in this world. But you're right, this is probably one of the saddest.
Yeah.
I mean, there's sadder NPCs,
right.
But just in terms of just general existence, World 2, this just gets to like why World 2 is so frustrating to me. One, you go from 1.1 and 1.2, which is just an enjoyable play experience. Then you go to 2.1, which is this fucking grind, unless you're in the know, right? It turns it into this like dumbass, and other Souls games aren't like this. I could maybe make an argument that there's some points of Sekiro that feel like it, but like rock, paper, scissors.
Right.
Or Pokemon, like, oh, I didn't bring my grass type to this water level, I'm gonna have troubles. That's frustrating. And then World 2, which is this very interesting concept of these, we're an invader, but there's innocent lives here now. We're not just an invader and unwanted here, there's innocence. And then it'll also, like, you turn a corner and it's just a bold, like, this can be a very vibrant world with some really interesting imagery and set pieces and traps and little sneak behinds. Right. And then it can also just be a fucking tunnel. Or just a fucking room with mine carts.
Right.
And it keeps 2 from being anywhere near my favorite, and it probably keeps 2 as a whole as like maybe at the bottom.
Mm-hmm. When we're all done with Demon Souls, we got to, part of our wrap up of the whole, we should just start tier ranking everything, including worlds.
I think I will wait until the end, because if we had tier ranked this before I revisited World 2 in like a different lens, instead of just like, oh, I'm playing through, I would have, some of this stuff is like, you can't miss it. Like, it's the theme of the level. If you're just paying attention, some of the stuff I did have to see on the second time through, and I probably would have thought worse of this whole world until then. Now we can do level by level or world as a concept, but because I really like 3 for about the first half.
Yeah,
and then nosedives hard, which
yeah.
Is there anything else you want to say about 2? We do meet a very important, or 2-1 specifically, we do meet a very important NPC, although he does not say much. He's just crucial for gameplay, and that's Blacksmith Ed.
You need a blacksmith? Show me your steel. If not, head straight for the door.
Yeah, Blacksmith Ed, he's in 2-1. You know, the dirty merchant, he says some interesting things, and I'll try and insert some of the text. One of them, you know, the dirty merchant sort of got this not amoral, maybe, I don't know. He's just basically saying, like, you know, these guys are all zombies. I can run around and do whatever I want.
Oh, hello. Here to make a deal. Our little town. Oh, it's a nice wee place. All those lizard-eyed townsfolk are busy tinkering with stone and don't bother with old folk like me. Makes life rather easy for me. I can get away with anything. I always knew there was a god. Thanks for looking out for me.
You know, Blacksmith Ed, you know, I think if you talk to... Blacksmith Ed is like the twin brother of the blacksmith in the Nexus. And, you know, one of the cut screen scenes, I don't know if I'll be able to show this, is like a loading screen is the two of them sort of like Queen's Rules boxing kind of stuff. And, you know, they'll talk, like the one in the Nexus will talk about, like, yeah, you know, we used to both be in Stonefang, and then I got out of there because woof. But he's still there, and he lets you know where he is. You know, the dirty merchant, at some point he'll tell you, like, there's a nest of crystal lizards, and I don't know if he tells you it in 2-1 or 2-2.
Filthy man. Dirty merchant.
Dirty merchant. Yeah, like, that's no name.
It's Filthy Man, but I don't know. Dirty Merchant.
Is it Filthy Man? Oh,
I just looked it up. I looked it up. I thought it was Filthy Merchant, but I believe it's Filthy Man.
Oh, no. Yeah, Dirty Merchant is my Tinder. No.
Really.
Good. Yeah. So there is some interesting dialogue, and I do feel like, well, yeah. So as 2-1, the main thing that jumped out at me was it is very much like you make your way through, and then it very, I don't know if cleverly gives you shortcuts to cut through most of the level. Sometimes I remember thinking, like, wait, why just turning off the water wheel?
Yeah.
So at some point I was just like, oh, this is like a video game. You know, they want to create a way to a shortcut, and it felt less internally logical the way World 1 does. I felt like they were accomplishing the same things, but without like a really tight context within the world like World 1.1 and 1.2 have.
Yeah. I think I voiced like my summary. I agree with what you say. I do think I wish it was a world I wanted to spend more time in. And there are like interesting layouts, like how you weave in and around these buildings to get to the next thing. There is some cool stuff here, but then it also just feels like blah. And then the payoff into 2.2 just gets worse. Right. So it's a level that gets worse the deeper you go, which I guess is thematic because the whole you were the one who turned me on to this. Like, this is just Mines Moria. They dug too deep.
Right.
And we get there as we progress, but eventually, as you said, we get to the demon spider demon, iron spider.
I wrote it down. Is it armor spider?
Armor spider. Okay.
Yeah.
Which I guess we can talk about that now. What do you think of the armored spider fight?
So overall, the armored spider fight, man, how do I say this?
Well, can I just say, leading up to it, you go from this mine, right? And it's all pretty much the same. You have mine carts, and you get these like little fire lizard things, and that's kind of cool. They don't really matter. But you get the fat officials, you get the storytelling. I think you get this great horizon shot, and you go back in and you start progressing, and then I love that it's like some spider webs. Some more spider webs. Oh shit, there's a shit ton of spider webs here. Like, I'm about to see some shit. And then all of a sudden it's a fucking metal spider. So I have questions about the spider webs. But
so Yeah, so I think some of the lore that I've encountered in a couple different places said that when, like, King Allant messes with the soul magic, the old one's slumber is disturbed. When the fog hits Boletaria, he turns his 3 main knights into the Tower Knight. It changes them. In this, what I've heard is that the fog hits and, a spider becomes the armor spider. Something becomes the flame lurker and something, so it's sort of like, because at first I was like, why is it an armor spider? Like, why is this the demon? And my understanding is that, and I wish I could remember where I saw this or read it, is that the fog hit and turned some of these things into mindless zombies. A spider, maybe there was like a large Shelob or whatever from, Lord of the Rings, and it just got turned into a demon. So I don't know.
Now, worth noting,
Mm-hmm.
I think the other two things you indicated were there.
So
I don't know if the fog created Flame Lurker.
See, that's what I wasn't sure. Some people said that. Well, we'll get to that.
Okay,
yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. But I also know no lore for Armor Spider. That's the only reason why I bring it up.
So that's what I heard, is that this fog somehow triggered these 3 things to happen. And there's something in the dragon god. Well, we'll get there. As far as the fight goes, the armor spider is the first time, like, if I go through a replay and I go bang 1-1, 1-2, let me go grab the Crescent Falchion, I'm going to go hit up World 2. The armor spider is the real clear indicator that Demon Souls is an entirely different experience your second time through. It's
mm-hmm.
I don't want to say it's like a literal cakewalk. But when, like you were saying, when you're in the know, you can get through most of this game pretty easily. And the armored spider is a very difficult fight the first time I faced it. And I was like, okay, how do I deal with the fire? Oh wait, no, there's a flame resistant ring. Oh, okay. All right. Oh wait, the purple fire shield. Okay. Oh, okay. I had to look up ways to mitigate flame damage because I didn't know how to. And then there's always but if you're magic, it's easy. And I was like, well, I'm not magic. So what do I do? I played it this time for the research as a melee character, and I did it in 1, basically, because it's not that hard of a fight. And it's a nice mix of puzzle and combat without being overbearing or stupid or like just punishing in either front. I really like it but I'd say that now in a different position because I've beaten the game, so I know, like, just bang, do this, bang, grab that, bang, and then it's just like a nice mix. Oh, he's about to blow his oil and then light it on fire. Let's run back. You got to pay attention a little bit. Just don't get with the webs. I found
it's
it to
a
be
fight that
Sorry.
Oh, no, I'm in complete agreement. It's a fight that humbles you if you don't respect it. But also, you're right. It's kind of, it's like Tower Knight. I mean, it's really like the whole game. I think you nailed it perfectly. I could not agree more. Now, I did this. I'm playing Magic this playthrough, which I know is going to get incredibly easy at some point. But I did think this fight was just kind of like he raises his butt so much that, like, my magic shots kept missing, and it was just kind of annoying. But like it was done in 1. But again, like, don't get shot by the webs. I don't know. The first time I tried this, like, so many times I got webbed and couldn't roll, and just got fucking flamed.
And then the other thing is, it's one of the few times, like, as nightmarish as, like, a lot of the creature design can be in a Souls game or a Soulsborne game, spiders are an easy phobia. And I feel like it's a well that they're pretty restrained about. There's definitely the armored spider. There's spiders in Dark Souls 2. There's, like, crazy scorpion ant things in Elden Ring. But I feel like no. And in Bloodborne, one of the what's the boss I'm talking about. Yeah. But I feel like moment to moment, it's not an enemy or a creature design they go to too often, given how, like, it can make your skin crawl. So So I find it.
They also make patches of spider in Bloodborne, which is appropriate for making your skin crawl.
That's true. I forgot. He's just fuck that guy. But yeah, that's a good point. That is one thing they do. But yeah, there's the one boss. What is that one? It's sort of like God, that game is so good.
Rom?
Yes, Rom. Yeah, where the things pop off. Yeah. But yeah,
I love Rom. I think some people don't like Rom. I like Rom.
I didn't mind
But anyway,
Rom. Yeah. Again, I've said this
I
to you
love that
before.
part of Bloodborne. Oh, fuck.
So, see, the problem with what we're doing here is at some point I'm going to have to play Bloodborne again. And I'm really bad at it. Like, really bad at it.
That's all right. We'll get it. We'll get it together.
So anyway, that's, I don't know. So what are your thoughts on, did we already cover your thoughts on Armor Spider?
No, I think you nailed it. I remember the first time I tried Armored Spider, I was like, holy shit. And then like you get some flame resistance and you learn it and you realize what you need to do. And it's not too bad. I mean, again, yeah, you said what I needed to say. It's hard the first time you do it. I think it humbles you. And then it's just a giant body blocking your path into 2-2.
Yeah. And, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go. Yeah.
Well, I was going to say in 1-1, they literally hit you in the face with what you need to win against the phalanx over and over. Like, hey, firebombs. Hey, I don't know if you saw this, firebombs. There's a pile of firebombs here.
Right.
And then Tower Knight, like, it doesn't need anything. You just, the trick to it is self-contained. It's just like, oh, the ankles are sparkly. So this is the first
then they steam out. I mean, they telegraph it because,
Right, and it doesn't take any special kind of damage, but Armor Spider is like, oh shit, how do I deal with fire damage? Like, it's not built into the run-up, the answer. They didn't just hand it to you.
And there's a pretty good chance you don't have the flame-resistant shield or ring. So then you need to be a mage and have the water shield. Or I guess there is the fire resistance armor. You might have some of that by now.
Maybe, yeah. But yeah, there is... I managed to find there's 2 flame resistance rings pretty early on, and I can't remember where I got the first one. It has to be in Boletarius somewhere.
It's with the shield, isn't it? Isn't it over with the
maybe
dragons?
that's yes, you're right. It's with the shield, which makes sense. Some poor bastard still wasn't thought he was going to get
enough.
Yeah, couldn't do it. That's a good point. Yes, it's there.
So then we get into 2-2.
Yes, let's do this.
I would love to summarize because 2-2 is such a kick in the nuts.
Well, before we do that, let me read.
Yeah.
The Tunnel City, Archstone of the Armored Spider Demon. It says, below the smithing grounds of Stonefang, the Tunnel City is a system of pathways that give the city its name. Legend has it that deep inside, beyond the molten swamps, is a grave for dragons.
That's cool. It's setting it up. I don't think it really tells us anything other than there's tunnels. But let me tell you about how big a kick in the nuts 2-2 is, because there's this left path where you wind through and you navigate sometimes, and you want to go that way because there's a shit ton of crystal lizards. Like, this is the crystal lizard den. There's some cool stuff to see. It's where you find patches.
Right.
And you can get all kinds of shit, and you get the fists of God and all that stuff. Or you can just go right, do some drop down, but it's the biggest, which, Souls is the fucking king of fucking platforming. So you platform down in the worst platforming in all of Souls games, and you go straight to the end boss of this level and skip the entire thing if you want. I hate 2-2 so much.
Well, let me tell you this.
I'm not someone who loves patches, so patches is fine. Yeah.
Let me tell you this.
So you take out patches, and on the left side, you get bullshit tunnels, and on the right side, you get some of them. Once you know the trick on the right side, it's fine. But discovering it, I probably died like 13 times in a row once. Like, it's just fucking bullshit.
Well, and like you pointed out, there is one, like, you can do your first drop and be stuck.
Yeah.
Like, one of the ways you can drop down, you got to kill yourself. But yeah, so 2-2, you haven't played Dark Souls 2 yet, but one of the things that Dark Souls 2 borrows is this stupid idea of this drop down.
Cool.
Yeah. And, like this drop down, there's like, if you get off here, there's like a little passage. If you get off here, you go there. It's a little more involved in Dark Souls 2, but when I saw that, I was like, oh my God, like, why did you? Okay. All right.
Bloodborne does have it, and it leads to a very important secret area.
Right. Well, that's the thing. In Bloodborne, it has it, but the payoff is so good.
Yes, exactly.
So good. If I'm remembering correctly. Blink twice.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's one of the things we both love about what Dark Souls and Demon Souls doesn't do it, but what Dark Souls tends to do.
Yeah.
And we'll save it, but yeah, that's where that leads.
Yeah. So, because I remember doing it, again, my special sauce was that I was lucky enough to play almost all of Bloodborne in co-op. And I remember we were doing the drop down, and I'm on chat with 2 other people, and we're like, wait, whoa, and then we all got to the bottom, and we're like, no way, and we were just floored. Yeah, we were just
even
floored.
The bottom leads. Yeah, that's cool drop down. Whereas this is just it's rude. It's just rude and it's dumb, and I hate it. Yeah.
It's got a dumb face. So,
is there anything? I guess we should talk about patches.
Well, let's just do this. Like you said, there's 3 ways you can go. First is to the right with the drop down, like you said, and then if you go left, there's 2 paths there. One is an elevator, and then one is a mining tunnel that takes you deep, and they all sort of end up in sort of this wide open lava area where Patches is waiting for us. And then you can, from there, get to where that drop down in the right ends up. So you can end up like sort of in the same place. But it's not fun. And so let's talk about Patches now. So you get to what I believe is the Tunnel City. And it's this wide open area. It's got actually a really nice, again, a nice vista where you look across the lava and you can see structures of
and more, like plankways. I thought you had to explore over there.
Yes,
the first time I went in, because I just went in cold the first time.
Yeah, but no, that would have been interesting.
No, yeah.
So sorry, go on about Patches now. So you meet
Patches. You should go on about Patches because I think you have the dialogue, and I don't remember what Patches. Again, I'm just not a people love Patches.
Yes,
my favorite Patches may be Elden Ring Patches, I think. And I just love that he like joins a murder cult in fucking Elden Ring.
That tracks.
So, what's your favorite Patches?
My favorite Patches might be the Elden Ring one is pretty good.
Yeah.
Because it surprised me. Like that was the thing, like Patches still does the Patches thing, but then there's all this other stuff to it. Like I think he sort of tries to bait you into dying in a cave or something like that.
Yeah, it's a treasure chest, and
yeah. But then, right, like he's the head of this cult or whatever.
Yeah, there's like a bandit. Yeah,
it's a bandit. Yeah. I did like in Bloodborne when he's a spider. I thought that was a nice.
So did I, but I hate where he traps you, which is the fucking Nightmare Frontier, and I fucking hate that.
That one's bad.
Yeah, like I just hate that whole zone.
Yeah, so for those who don't know, Patches is a reoccurring NPC, and he's always sort of got the same storyline, which is, hey,
and same voice actor.
Same voice actor, yeah, which is a nice touch. And it's always the same sort of story beats, which is, hey, you can trust me, booby, let's talk. And then he tries to kill you. And then when you don't die, he's like, whoa, we're not getting crazy, right? Like you can, come on, booby. And then if you forgive him, he's like, oh, great. And sometimes he'll give you something if you kill him. Other stuff happens, but it's always sort of
to kill you again.
Yeah. Like in Dark Souls 3, how many times is he?
Well, studying Dark Souls 3 just is, yeah. Well, because doesn't he try to kill you twice here?
Oh, that's possible. There's definitely
does he trap you in 2-2? Does he do something to you in 2-2? I don't remember.
In 2-2, so here, I'll read what he says.
Ooh, you're not mad like the rest, are you? Well, what jolly travelling companions are we, eh? Pleased to meet you. Call me Patches. Oh, see that treasure over there? Go on and take it. My gift to you, just to show that we're friends.
he's basically sending you underneath like a giant bug that explodes. If you survive,
and
he's
then
like,
and then he traps you later in the game too.
Oh, see, that might be something I'm forgetting at the moment. And I look forward to figuring that out because I'm totally blanking at the moment. So, and so then then he's like, oh hey, come on, don't turn a cold shoulder. I didn't mean to do you wrong, really. Oh, I have an idea. That treasure over there should be mine, but I'll let you have it. So he does it twice here. And he's like, what's the matter? Are you too good for treasure? So anyway, but he's always doing that. The whole, oh no, Shrine of Storms. You're right. Like he,
yeah. He kicks you down the hole in Shrine of Storms.
That's right.
Yeah.
Right. That's
and then in Elden Ring, he tries to kill you twice too.
Yeah. So, and it's one of those things where like a lot of longtime hardcore fans of the game, it's like, it's almost like, Sigmaier's like, hey bro, like they kind of like, yeah, he can't help himself. Right. He's going to be who he is. And so they like that callback. Like you, I've never been blown away by it. But
I would assume you were a patches guy.
No, the first time I think the first time I played Demon Souls, I got lucky and I was not gotten, too badly. The first time I really was in Dark Souls 1 because he's in the Tomb of the Giants, which is like that area with no light. Oh, like I hate Tomb of the Giants. I hate Tomb of the Giants so much. And then I was like, this is not the like I'm not here for your bullshit, Patches. Like this is not the time.
This is not the fucking time.
right. Like read the room. Like I'm actively angry and I hate this game right now. And he's like, oh hi. I'm like, oh no, here we go. Yeah. Anyway,
could I bring one thing up?
Mm-hmm.
You said Sigmaier, but I think we have established that Siegbert is the best, the best Katarina Knight.
It's Black Lodge canon at this point. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely it is. There's so many reasons why. I can't wait to talk about it.
That's going to be good.
Because who would you rather trust? Incompetency or a brave soul who likes to ponder his decisions? I think it's pretty obvious. So anyways, fuck 2-2, because then if you go this route, you get patches. That outdoor area is cool, and that first time you experience it, you're walking down the scaffolding, and these little lava bugs keep flying up, and you get a taste of the bugs that explode. That you find in the tunnels, but it all leads to the most bullshit of tunnels that are just reciprocal and circle back on themselves. There's no indication, and you run into these fat bugs. They just swing, take a step back, swing, take a step back, and then they finally explode, and then you step forward, and all of 2-2 just amounts to pure bullshit.
Yes, it's very tedious.
And crystal lizards.
It's
so tedious.
Yeah. And it's kind of interesting because World 2-2 is sort of a microcosm of what I'm saying before, where Demon Souls is a very different game your second time through. 2-2, what you need 2-2 for in the long run is crystal lizards, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the quality of life in that level is actually not that bad, because like you said, to get to the boss, which you're going to die to a lot, which we'll talk about in a little bit, once you get it down, is 2 minutes, you're done. It's a relatively fast boss run to get back, and you're going to do it a lot, especially your first time.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other thing you come back for are the crystal lizards, and they have an elevator that takes you right there. So the two things that you really need for the level, once you've done it,
that's true.
They make it very easy. So that was sort of the thing. I was like, I appreciate that they made the things that I actually need to come here for in the long term very accessible. But to get to that point is horseshit.
I respect that. There is other bullshit though. The fucking floating, exploding carts. Like these lights are floating towards you and they just blow up and kill you. Yeah. There's a fat official that surprises you as soon as you get past the floating carts. And he's a farm spot if you care about trophies like I do, because he's a lucky coin drop, and you need to trade a lucky coin with a bird later to get a ring, or maybe a colorless soul. I think it's a ring.
Right. Okay.
Anyways, You're exactly right. When you no longer need 2/2, it's fine.
Right.
But some of those crystal lizards are part of the. Yeah, there's a cave of them that you get a ton, but there's also one in the shortcut drop down. That's kind of a bitch to get to. Not that you have to, but
right. I don't know.
So,
if it gives
do you have anything
something
else said about 2/2? I mean, I just don't like the tunnel part, and like there's a whole like lava room that I don't think I've ever even stepped foot in. I don't know what's in there.
Oh, it's actually not a bad thing to step foot into, because if you go in, you're going to see like a massive, whatever those firebugs are, but there's a path to your left along the wall. Along that path, you got to do it fast, because there's another one of those bugs that's going to drop down and block your way. So you got to get past it before it completes its drop. There's if you go all the way to the end, there's actually another tunnel you can turn left into, and there's like a flame sword +1 or something. One thing I noticed this time is that there's a lot of like dead bodies of knights in that fluted classic Demon Souls armor scattered around the tunnels. There's like
there's also so that does bring up also the tunnel shift, and I think it was Bonfireside Chat that pointed this out, that basically the tunnels stop becoming man-made and start becoming hollowed out burrower, or like the stone snakes have dug in the holes. Like they're not man-made. We've gone too deep and we've stumbled upon something way nefarious.
Yeah, because like you said, like part of the problem with the tunnels is that you'll hit one of these giant bugs that you got to whack for 30 minutes to get by, but it makes you realize like this tunnel is not dug. There's no wooden support structures. There's nothing. It's just smooth.
There's a carapace and shit.
Yeah. And then, and then within these tunnels, there's a lot of these knights. So I kept wondering, was like, were the knights sent down to sort of like clear the tunnel and they just blew it? They didn't succeed. Cause there's at least 2 or 3 down there. And again, they're very much Boletarian. Their knight armor looks somewhat similar to Estrava. It's that general. And again, it's the knight armor you see on the cover. It's just that classic Demon Souls. But when you get to that fire room, you go left all the way at the end. There's a tunnel that goes left. There's like a special flame sword there. Between that tunnel and where you enter, there's basically the best heavy armor in the game. Is just lying on the ground there. Is it burrow wood armor?
I don't know. Burrower armor? Is that the fire resistance armor? It's like not super heavy and doesn't.
It might be. Let me see. Demon's Souls 2/2 armor set. What's it called?
Burrower set.
Brushwood. The Brushwood set.
Oh, you can get Brushwood somewhere else.
Oh, you can.
You can get Brushwood. So it's interesting. Brushwood armor is.
I thought it was the Brushwood set.
The knight who did not return.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
You can get it at the bottom of the Executioner's pit. Bior. The Executioner set is Bior's armor, I believe. I didn't know that dropped in World 2.
Oh, sorry, no. Sorry, just went through. It is the Burrower set. Why was I thinking?
Okay, so I must have found that tunnel then. Okay, so my first playthrough. Yeah, Burrower's armor is amazing because it's not as heavy as something like the Brushwood set. The Brushwood set is very heavy. It reduces your stamina recovery. Burrower's set doesn't, but it offers fire resistance and has good defense. So it's not like wearing shit armor. It's actually somewhat competent, and then offers fire resistance.
Right, and it's again... It's, man. So I was saying in World 2.1, they don't give you what you need to defeat the armor spider. Like, they don't just hand it to you, like, within the world. The way they do for the Phalanx. In 2.2, they kind of do. There's a fire resistance ring. If you explore enough, you can get this Burrower set. And you can start to build up a little bit of a... And there's also, like, a heater shield +2 that might help. So like, even if you don't get the purple
in
flame
the fire
shield,
room.
no, not there. It's behind.
No, I'm just kidding. The burrower say.
No, it's with patches. It's in that general area. Maybe that's one of the. It's like the special heater shield +2. So I think they're giving you some tools that you can use, because I think they're like, we know Flame Lurker is a beast, and here's some stuff that might help out. But you got to find it. They're not just going to hand it to you the way they do fire bombs in 1-1.
Yeah.
But yeah, at the end of the day, 2-2, the first time I played Demon Souls, I was madly in love with it. 2-1 hits, and I'm like, I need to step back. Like, the difficulty really is, this might be too hard for me, but I get past it. And then 2-2, I didn't enjoy exploring at all. And it sort of really took the wind out of my sails for it comes back, but it really took the wind out of my sails for my feelings towards the game at first.
You know, I think we talked about recently, like, my path through this. Basically, I played through Armor Spider, and then for whatever reason, I took a break from the game, and I came back to it, and I came back to 2-2, and I had beaten Armor Spider, and I had explored. This is probably why I don't remember the lava room, is because I'd already explored with patches and those tunnels, and I died to something or someone down there at some point. And I just thought the thought of going back and exploring those tunnels put me off to the game. And then I come back to it and I die 13 times in a row taking the shortcut because I'm ding dong. And then I die, and including those runs, I died to the boss of 2-2. And it about made me stop.
Right.
But I beat 2-2 and I immediately go to 3-1. And it just breathed so much life into this game for me. But I'm right there with you. 2-2 about made me quit. And kind of what happens after 2-2 is also kind of an epic set piece as well. So that also helped. But I'm right there with you. I almost quit after 2-2.
Yeah, it just wasn't fun to spend time there. It just, nothing about it at first. And again, like, it's utilitarian afterwards, so I appreciate the quality of life they because it's so just purely, I think they kind of know, like, nobody wants to come back here. Give them an elevator to the lizard farm and make it easy to get to should we talk about the boss?
So there is an NPC here that you can get in pure white and pure black tendency. Which I think also just speaks to the tedium, because he can one-shot you with a fireball unless you just put your shield up for about 15 spells, and then he runs out of mana and you just beat him down. Because you have to kill him for some things on pure black tendency. If you're on pure white tendency, you can deliver a sword that will get in a little bit to him. So he's here in 2-2 on the shortcut drop down. The reason I know he's there is because I went looking for him and I explored all the tunnels. And then it's like, he's not fucking here. Where is this guy? And I was on pure black. And then I had to look him up, and then that's where I found out he was halfway down the drop down shortcut. I just thought, motherfucking 2-2.
Yeah.
But at 2-2, we get an awesome, I like this boss fight a lot. We get Flame Lurker.
Yes. So Flame Lurker, a couple interesting things. When you get the cutscene, Flame Lurker sees you enter the chamber. In my mind, we were talking about how, like, did we talk about below is the grave? I was reading the Archstone for 2-2. It's like, below is the grave of dragons. The idea is that, like, at the bottom of Tunnel City, they found, like, they dug too deep, and the arena where you fight Flame Lurker looks like the entrance to, like, a temple. Like, if you've ever, because it's a temple. If you've ever seen the third Indiana Jones movie, the climax of it takes place at, like, a temple etched into a stone face. Now that's a real place in, I think, Jordan, and it had that kind of vibe to it for me, where you come and you see, like, this stone edifice, and then there's, like, a temple entrance cut into it. And, but the Flame Lurker has to break out to fight you. And I don't know if he's imprisoned or he just happens to be there and he's just taking the shortest route from A to B, which is through these pillars to tear your face off.
Well, did you look up the description for his Archstone?
Let's see. Archstone of the Flame Lurker Demon. Ages ago, a fire demon was imprisoned. Okay. In an underground temple littered with bones of dragons. Okay.
Yep.
So actually, you know what? To that video I mentioned earlier. Dave Control. So he had this interesting theory where, because right outside of the Flame Lurker arena, you find those fist weapons.
Fists of the gods.
Yeah, Fists of the Gods, right? And so part of his theory was, they described the two, Blacksmith Ed and his brother, as like pugilists. And one of them, and they used fists. And so he had a theory, and I think I'm sort of getting this right. I watched this a little while ago, but somehow like there was a third kind of person involved that was part of this pugilism, and it's his Fists of the Gods that are outside the arena. Doesn't belong to the blacksmiths.
Well, that would make more sense than either the blacksmiths, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
I didn't know this until right now, but that would probably make more sense than either the blacksmiths, because they're still, although they wouldn't die.
Right.
I guess. Huh.
I mean, and
that's interesting.
Yeah, and that's what you're going to get with us is discussion of like half-informed lore. Like I looked up part of it.
Yeah.
I didn't finish the train of thought, and now I'm just going to talk. So,
no, I think it's great. I was going to look to see if there was anything up, because here's the other thing you want to hear is me looking up lore live, but like on Armor Spider, I had to look it up because honestly, here's the deal. If there's cool lore about Armor Spider, I would be interested.
Right.
But also I don't give a shit. It's a giant armor spider. Like
right.
There's cooler bosses later that I know less about that I probably should look up that I actually really like their design. But at that point in the game, they feel like a video game boss. Armor Spider feels like a video game boss.
Yes.
And like Dirty Colossus feels like a video game boss. But I would love to know his lore.
Yeah, because that's an existence I would not envy. No. Dirty Colossus, also my Tinder profile. I've got two. To catfish. No. But yeah, so it's interesting, like it says like the Flame Lurker demon is imprisoned in an underground temple. So I'd be curious to know why. Maybe that's probably answered somewhere. But so he has to break through these pillars. So obviously, I guess he is imprisoned. But why is he coming after you? And then like this Dave Control guy mentions like, hey, the Flame Lurker only fights with fists.
Here's a few interesting things that live Googling. So the hands of gods belong to Big M, and there's one theory that Flame Lurker is Big M.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're right outside, because those weapons are out there, and because Big M can defeat a god.
Right.
And spoiler alert, we're about to go fight the dragon god. That this is Big M. Now there's other theories out there and there's not much to support that, but
so maybe they imprison Big M because they don't want him to go kill the dragon god.
Right, because the dragon god served a purpose, right?
I think so.
Or did they just kept it trapped there?
Yeah, they wanted to worship it, but so and some people point out like there's a question. Well, we'll get to that in a minute when we get to 2-3.
Okay.
So,
yeah, I jumped ahead a little bit.
Yeah. So Flame Lurker, again, Demon Souls is a very different game when you play it the second time through. If you know to go with magic, it's a cakewalk. And I don't want to say cakewalk. It's still, it's one of the fastest fights in Demon Souls, which means it's about half speed for Dark Souls 3 or Elden Ring. But for Souls, it's fast.
Yes.
For Demon Souls, it's fast. So it's like a whoa. And he hits hard. And there's like flame on the floor that can, do environmental damage to you, take it away a little bit. But overall, I really like the fight. Now, it was probably the first point where I actually said I quit. We'll do I think we should do an episode of like places where I said no and then threw it down like a tantrum and then finally 3 days later said, okay, I'll take you back. But
Bloodborne seriously had like a I'd probably say 4 or 5 year, and it was in the expansion. And if people play the expansion will know exactly who I'm talking about because he is a major bitch.
Yeah.
But I'll save that for there. So here's the deal. I love the Flame Lurker fight. My first fight was on melee, but I also had the flame resistance shield. So does that...
Right.
Because I explored the dragon area in 1-1 right away.
Yes.
And having the flame resistance shield kind of makes... It doesn't negate Flame Lurker entirely. One, you still need the endurance to do it. And
right.
two, it can humble you. But you're right. It feels like... It feels like a modern Souls boss fight, but like maybe an early one with its speed, with its toughness, and he's on fire. Yeah, I really like this fight, but it's nothing other than like you can block, you can dodge, you just need to be smart, you need to respect it, and having some fire resistance helps.
Yeah, and so as much as I was saying like it was the first place where I said like I think I quit, there's something that Souls games and people who are into Souls will talk about this. It's not unique to me, but it's that feeling you get when you feel like you just overcame the impossible.
And
Father
Gascoigne was that for me.
Yep. And your hands are shaking and you've been doing it for 3 hours and you can't believe you did it. And it's the most exhilarating feeling in the world. So as much as Flame Lurker got me to the lowest of lows, it was the first time I experienced, oh, this is what this series can do. The highest of highs.
Okay, he was your first like that?
Yes, because Demon Souls was my first game. It was the first one I played.
Okay. And that probably tracks. Like if I'm just thinking of, although I'm trying to think of who gave me more fits on the first playthrough, Armored Spider or Flame Lurker, I don't know. I think Flame Lurker was a more satisfying achievement because I just don't like the Armored Spider fight is just like fine. Like, oh, you get caught by the web. Damn it. I fucked up. And then you get punished bad.
Yeah.
But I know exactly the feeling you're talking about. And there was moments like that in Sekiro. There's one particular boss in Sekiro where like you can kind of like you need to parry through the whole game. But by the time you get to that boss, you better fucking know your parry or you cannot beat him. And when I beat him, that was the second time. But the first one for me absolutely was Father Gascoigne, which is the second boss in Bloodborne.
Right.
And I just like, oh, fuck. So good.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's actually what made me, after Father Gascoigne, I was like, these games are for me.
Right. And, in the last episode, I think we talked about like the power creep of Souls games, right?
Yeah.
I get why they do it because the last time I experienced that was beating the Elden Ring DLC.
Oh,
now
nice.
I didn't. I am happy to use summons. I didn't have a human player come in. I did it on my own, but I do not feel shame for using summons and other tools that are in the game. It took me about 7 hours to beat them. It's all on the channel. You can watch it. And it involved like getting good. It involved tweaking my build. It involved nuancing. What is this? What about this buff? What if I combine this and this? And then it happened. And it's not like I just like unlocked and it was a cakewalk. It was like by the skin of my teeth, but and that was a lot. And I even say like my hands are shaking, and you're not going to get that for longtime fans of the series unless you power creep. It's just difficult if you're going to make the main storyline do that because people jumping in for the first time don't have, 15 years of experience and, they're just going to run face first into a wall.
That's true, but the games give you the tools, and I agree. There is, of all the bosses I've beat, and there's still some bosses I've not beat in the Souls world.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there's anything that I haven't beaten on my own other than using summons in Elden Ring.
Okay. Yeah.
Right. Like, which I think you would say the same, right? Other than Bloodborne, because you intentionally co-opted Bloodborne.
Co-opted basically the whole game, but never touched the DLC.
Right. Okay. So, trying to think if NPC summons them. Anyways, doesn't really matter. That's not the point where I'm going. The point is that Elden Ring gives you the tools, but Art, think of how many people played Elden Ring as their first Soulsborne game. So I get it. And I don't want to, like, that's not me saying, like, oh, anyone who struggles with, like, the modern Soulsborne games needs to get good or anything like that. Like, I get it. These are hard games.
Yeah.
But I think the games give you everything you need to, if this fight is too much for you, there is a way around it.
Yeah.
Either bringing in help from players, using summons, or just over-leveling.
Right?
And, like,
yeah. And Elden Ring is the best at that. It gives you so many ways to over-level. Yeah.
Right. So I do get what you're saying. Like, the power creep is absolutely there. I mean, Dark Souls 3 is just like the epitome of you thought you liked 2-stage fights.
right.
Guess what? And so, I don't know. I kind of agree with you. On the other hand, just so many people came into Elden Ring for the first time. I don't know.
Yeah. But you are right.
But you are right. You have to, it's the exact same thing as Magic the Gathering. You have to keep introducing new and exciting things, or your series. Now, the downside of that is I think you lose a lot of longtime fans that aren't interested in that power creep. It's no different than Magic the Gathering, because there's people who only play certain years of Magic the Gathering for that exact reason.
Yeah.
They don't know, like, where it's at. They don't like 3-stage fights. And so I think there's a lot of drop off of fans between Demon Souls and Bloodborne or Dark Souls 3 or Sekiro, which forces you into one particular game style, or Elden Ring, which is which not only changes the game style and power creeps the whole game, but also fundamentally changes how you experience the world and makes it this massive open world. Not as, there are some clever level design moments in Elden Ring, but nothing like we saw in any of the other games. So like, change is good to keep you excited, but also it definitely has some negative consequences. And then when you go back and play someone like Flame Lurker, it does lose some of its sex appeal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It becomes a lot more rote. It's just like, maybe I'll do it in 2. You know, maybe I screw up timing on 1. But I will say, to what you were saying, like, if you get the purple flame shield and you get the fire resistance ring, the thing I had to get out of my head was, in my first playthrough, I just had like a dinky shield and a spear, and I was using the pillars and I was dodging for my dear life. But if you get that purple flame shield, especially if you get a couple of bumps in terms of its upgrades, and then you get that flame resistance, it actually makes more sense to just tank most of the hits, except for maybe 1. And because if you miss the dodge, you get wrecked. But I'm like, wait a minute, why am I just stand there, just chip a little bit, and then bam, bam, bam.
Yeah, you just have to worry about positioning so you're not getting some kind of splash fire damage either from the ground or his backside or anything like that. I had a thought, and I lost it, as we tend to do.
Stay in your lane, Matt.
So I know what it is. So with Flame Lurker, again, having this backwards progression through Soulsborne games, I like Flame Lurker a lot. I think Flame Lurker is in like my top
35
from Demon Souls.
Oh, okay, from
I don't have as much respect for the boss, like the boss in 3-1 or the boss at the end of World 5, or even Phalanx or Tower Knights or Penetrator. I don't know why those fights, which are arguably 10 times easier, or the 3-1 boss is incredibly easy, but I love that. I don't know why I like those fights more than Flame Lurker. That's my only point. I just don't get, like, why don't I like Flame Lurker more when it's the 3rd, 4th most challenging boss fight in the game, maybe?
Well, I don't want to speak for you, but I'll say for me, it's part of what makes me glad Demon Souls was my first, and it's what makes it still very special, in that the bosses weren't specifically designed to be challenging. In my mind, they were more specifically designed to tell story, to fit into the world. Like you're describing the boss of 3-1, not a hard fight. It gets mimicked in later games over and over in harder forms. But it just really works in Demon Souls, but it's not hard. Or you're saying like Dirty Colossus, not a hard fight, but there's something.
But I love that fight. It's so
I
cool.
love it though, because, and for me, what makes these fights transcend, others is the idea it's not just mere mechanics, which I think is what a lot of times happens the further you go into the Souls games. Like the fights really are learn moves, timing, get good, speed. Where in Demon Souls, they were a little chunky, they were puzzles, they were easily solved, but they, I don't know, it's like there's a bit of thought to them that, and when we get to the Archdemon here in a moment, I'll talk about it. It's just, even if the fight itself sucks, Phalanx is not a hard fight, but when you say, oh, but it's actually the demon of her archer, all of a sudden, like there's all this stuff that puts it together. And then when you encounter that exact same fight in Dark Souls 1 in the Painted World, it's like, because it's just dropped in there as like a wall of Phalanx. It's not like this whole, it doesn't have meaning in context, for me at least.
Yeah, but why does Phalanx get because like I didn't know Phalanx until later, or hearing it, right? Like I don't like. I'm gonna correct me if I'm wrong, but the first time you played Phalanx, you didn't know the story of Phalanx because there's no items, there's nothing to indicate it, right? Unless you did. I don't want to speak for you.
So when I literally fought it, no, but I believe I was able to do this for Demon Souls because I imported it, so it had been out for a little while. Mm-hmm. As soon as I finish an area, I'm like, I know I missed stuff. And so then I go and I read and look up and then re-travel back. So I might have known pretty quickly about that. Okay.
Because I do agree with you. The reason why Phalanx works for me is, one, I do like the fight. I think it's kind of cool.
It's kind of cool, yeah.
But two, it's the lore.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of Dark Souls 3 bosses that are like the perfect culmination of mechanics and lore and setting and vibe and music. And then when you go back to something like this, some Demon Souls bosses will get like check 2 out of the 4 of the boxes or 3 out of the 4 of the boxes, but it's missing that like finely tuned mechanics. And even the end boss of 1-4 is kind of just like, I don't know. I don't love it, but mechanically I think it's a really awesome fight, Yes. I don't know, there's lots to talk about where it's like, obviously with more, and really what it comes down to is with more in the series, they're able to hone it in and really distill what makes these boss fights epic. It's why the Gwyn at the end of Dark Souls is such an amazing fight, even though Gwyn is not the hardest fight of Dark Souls. Especially if you know how to parry.
If you know how to parry, it's a breeze. Yeah,
exactly. But because of everything that's packed into the Gwyn fight, it's amazing.
Yeah.
These fights are like, the groundwork is there. It's just when you go back to it, you realize how much more they could have packed in. And again, that doesn't necessarily, like, I love the Sister Frida fight. It's definitely my top 5. I'd have to and Slave Knight Gale, but even though I love those fights, it doesn't mean that they have to be the hardest thing in the whole series. But because this is their first go at it, they haven't quite honed in that ability to tell a complete story with a boss fight. But it's there because this boss arena, this is a really cool arena. Mm-hmm. I don't remember the music for this, but there's good music in Demon Souls. Yeah. There's good music in all the games. But anyways, so I think they get there. And for whatever reason, Flame Lurker, although I really like the fight, doesn't quite raise to the level of these other ones that maybe were easier but packed in other elements, if that makes any sense.
It definitely does to me, because the mechanics, and this might be my bias because I'm not a great video game player, but the mechanics are not the main thing I'm looking for. It's the context, the story, the lore, so I will so when the fights keep getting harder and harder every time I pop in a new Souls game, I'm like, oh my God, I just wish I could appreciate the arena, or I could appreciate something else about this, like the story leading up to this point. But instead, there's 35 things I have to do every second, and learning 15 different moves, and then a second stage, a third stage. Okay,
Melania was probably my point of that, exactly what you just said. Like, now I do the Melania arena is really cool, but it was more just like, this is just a fight that I have to check off.
Right.
And there was the other big dumb space worm. I don't know if you remember when I played Elden Ring, I bashed my head against him until I got the bubble flute. The one you like lay in the coffin in and go down the river of blood.
Yeah,
and then
I know
it pays off with yeah. That fight may have been more for me than Melania, but anyways, that's not why we're here tonight.
That bubble horn, baby. That was a game changer. I didn't really think about it or know about it until you clued me in, and then dragons in particular. Oh,
yeah,
my
anything
goodness.
big has more surface area.
Yeah. There's the
It's just fucking hilarious. You're just playing a fucking bubble trombone.
Yeah, and there's one of the hardest dragons in the game. It's like, in Azula, like you're in the sky area, and like the level's torn apart and there's storms and tornadoes. There's like a hidden dragon there that's supposed to be one of the toughest in the game. And I run in there with the bubble horn, and the thing just melts. And I literally was like, oh, it's dead already. Like, I was like, oh my God. Okay.
Yeah. You could get a big dumb hat to make it even better.
I had it, baby.
Like, yeah. Oh, fuck. It's so you just boss staggers. It's just like it fucking wrecks. Oh, so stupid, but gosh, do I love it.
Yeah. Well, someday hopefully we can talk about Elden Ring.
Yeah.
I don't know how.
So Flame Lurker's cool, and then immediately this goes into the archdemon of this world, and we've teased it. It's the dragon god, and this is the first quote unquote puzzle fight of Demon Souls, if you're going in this order.
Right. So let me just read the Archstone just to give some context. The underground shrine was constructed both to worship and imprison the dragon god. The miners' ancestors were inspired to faith by the great dragon Bones and paid their respects by maintaining the shrine with great care. So I want to get into that in a minute, but I just want to say that you called it a puzzle fight. That's a very polite way of saying that it's bullshit. It is a super bullshit fight, but context, setting, scope, all the je ne sais quoi of this fight is what it has, and what the witch in Dark Souls, that's the giant tree that slaps.
Oh yeah.
So they're both the witch of I can't remember but you know what I'm talking about. They're both
the one with the roots.
Yeah, they're both puzzle fights. They're both bullshit, right? They're both hot bullshit. Just summertime hot bullshit. But I don't mind it in the Dragon God because of all of the other things that it brings to the table that the Witch of Izalith, in my mind, does not.
Yes.
Because that's
epic in scale. It's massive.
And it's thought out. It's not at the end of a level where they were copying and pasting half of dragons in the lava because they ran out of time and money. It's just like there's nothing inspiring about that level. And for all of its faults, I will say, I will say that there is a kind of inspiration to the Stonefang tunnels. It may be a drag to get from A to B, but I feel like, again, like the overall.
Ooh.
It's the
World
overall
2 or
package.
Izalith. I don't know.
Izalith for me is so much worse. Izalith is so much worse. Because half of that feels like an afterthought, where this feels like I might not like what they did, but it feels really considered. It feels integrated into the lore.
I just want to recap my experience.
All right.
So I'm doing this fight, and I two-hand my sword, and I like to listen to things in the background. And I'm listening to my good buddy Art play this, and you get to this boss fight, And you're doing all this shit, and you're like, now if he looks this way, he can hear you or something like that. And you're like thoughtfully taking out your time. You know what I did? I put on my two-hand weapon. I smashed everything. I got up to the first catapult, fired it, ran to the second one, never stopped once to hide behind a fucking pillar.
And it worked?
Yes. I'm sitting there. I'm just like looking over. I'm like, what the fuck is Art talking about? And I just have my two-handed sword out, and I'm just smashing through everything. You just sprint, and you just chop, sprint, chop, sprint, chop, sprint. And I'm just like, so this fight is like, yeah, I guess if you respect it, is more of a puzzle and bullshit. On the other hand, if you two-hand any weapon, it's a run to 2 ballistas. This is what this fight is. And
I will have to try that, because when I did it last time, like I tried to run through the first 1 or 2 and I got lit up. Like I couldn't.
You can't run through them. You have to two-hand a sword and just fucking run and smash, and you do not stop. Huh. And then you get to the ballista and you fire it.
I'll have to try it. Yeah,
when I watched you do it, I was like, what is he doing?
So maybe if that's the case, maybe I'm just overthinking it. And if it's just smash and grab.
Now, the trick is you do need a little bit of stamina, and it has to be I don't think you can two-hand rapier or something like that. Like, I think I was two-handing the claymore, maybe.
That'll do it.
Yeah. And then, but there's other, like, I'm sure you could do it with like the crushing axe or something like that. And you
never got punched or fire breath or anything. You were able to outrun all of it?
I don't think I took any damage from that fight. Now, that was my second go at it, because the first time I was a little more like, I was looking around to like even see what the hell was going on.
Right.
And then died to whatever bullshit.
Did you have the thief ring on? Did you have anything to help?
No. I didn't start using the thief ring until Man-Eaters, because fuck that fight. But this one, you just fucking run and you just don't stop. That's the deal. Like
I got to try that.
It's so funny. Like I was doing it and then just like looking over at my tablet, just like looking back, like, what?
Start talking to the screen. Art, you can, oh my God, move.
It was just like, we had such different experiences. And that's really the fight. There's these rocks that you have to break through to get up to 2 ballistas. You fire the ballistas. He gets a tiny sliver of health, and you just have to finish him off. You can finish him off from range. I guess you can go up and melee him if you really want. Mm-hmm. If you want a trophy, punch him with the Fist of Gods.
Really?
If you kill him with the Fist of Gods, then you get a trophy, which is pretty cool, because you fucking punched a giant god to death.
But that's why they're there, right? That's so they tie the lore into your
right
Pavlovian response. Very nice. So yeah, and okay, so earlier on I was talking about how like the fog wafted through and turned a spider into the armor spider. Like the theory, like, did it turn somebody who was there, who left his Fist of Gods outside, into the Flame Lurker? So I don't know, but what lends it a little bit is when I read the description for the Shrine of the Dragon God, and this was something, again, sort of, I think, pointed out a little bit by the video I mentioned. So the description said the miner's ancestors, which to me is the Burrowers, the Burrower King, were inspired to faith by the great dragon Bones. There wasn't a god down there. They were bones. So when the Burrowers found that, they were worshiping the dragon Bones. There wasn't a god there. And the reason why I'm kind of curious about this is because, do you know, like in the tutorial area, you end up fighting the Vanguard demon, and I always die to it, as I'm sort of supposed to, but you can beat that Vanguard demon and get past him. Have you ever seen what's beyond the Vanguard demon?
No.
Okay. So if you get beyond the Vanguard demon, you can keep going in that tutorial level, and you basically find a staircase and you can collect all these items. But what you're looking at outside is the demon god. Same demon god. And so
Dragon god?
Sorry, the dragon god. I'm sorry. Yes. Same. Oh. Yeah. But it's not underground. It's on the surface, and in the background, there's these volcanoes. So I have no idea where this place is, but the dragon god is out in some world, and you get basically a bunch of items that give you a little bit of a bonus as a congrats for beating the Vanguard demon. And then it punches you to death the way it would in 2-3. So combine. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, I don't want to lose your point because
Okay.
the Archstone description says the underground shrine was made to worship as well as seal the dragon god. And so,
Oh, that's true.
where does the bones description come from?
So,
Because
This-
I like what you're saying. You think they found something, they treated it as a god, and then the fog came in and maybe turned it into a god? But
yeah,
I think
well, right. So the underground shrine was constructed to both worship and imprison the dragon god. So that's again what I was trying to say. Is this like an area of two ages? It doesn't specify
Right.
when the imprisoned part, like, was it always there or was that later added?
Right.
Like, because if you look at the giant crossbows, they're sort of magic powered. So was that part
Right,
of
for sure.
Alant, when he unleashed the soul magic, did it then create this dragon god? And they're like, oh shit, let's use soul magic to make sure it's locked in. Like, that's what I don't know.
where did the line about the bones? Which Archstone is that from?
Oh yeah. Our Archstone 2-4, right after the underground shrine was constructed both to worship and imprison the dragon god. Then it says the miners' ancestors, which I took to be the burrowers, were inspired to faith by the great dragon Bones and paid their respects by maintaining the shrine with great care.
Interesting. I'm looking at a different wiki that says the ancestors of the excavators revered it as a god and maintained it well.
So, which could also still be true with the Bones, but now that might be the original, because I think the PS3 text is sometimes different than the text on the PS5 loading
Well,
screens.
they do change this level some, but it's just interesting. I don't know. I don't know if one's either right or wrong, or if it even says anything different.
Right.
I do think it's hilarious. So wait, they maintained it. What did you say? One more. What was the like?
Yeah. And I
they
just want to say for
respected
the
it or something
listeners,
like that?
the answer is probably out there on 15 different lore videos, and I just don't know it. So you're just watching me go, but the underground. So yeah, the Shrine of the Dragon God. This is the Archstone in the PlayStation 5 version, I think. The underground shrine was constructed both to worship and imprison the dragon god. The miners' ancestors were inspired to faith by the great dragon Bones and paid their respects by maintaining the shrine with great care.
Yeah, paid their respects by putting two giant ballistas that are tasked with just killing this thing if things get out of control. Like, we respect this thing and we know this thing could fuck us up. But we're also just going to point these ballistas point blank at this motherfucker, and no one does anything about him for however long.
Well, see, and that's sort of the theory I'm trying to get at. Like, the original did not put the ballistas there. They built the temple to these bones and treated that with care. But then Alant comes in, unleashes soul magic. The bones then become the dragon god. And then the Alant second wave says, oh shit, we've got to point ballistas at this thing point blank. That's what I was always trying to say, like, was this a level of two
maybe
ages?
the ballistas, but I think the arena was built to imprison the dragon god. Now maybe the ballistas go in to really keep it in, but I think because it says that the ancestors of the excavators revered it as a god and maintained it well, and I think the maintained it well is the underground shrine, which was made to worship and imprison, seal away the dragon god. So I don't know what point the ballistas come in. I just find the notions of the ballista kind of funny and then also kind of underwhelming, because you're right, it's this giant ass epic fight. You're like, holy shit, I'm fighting a literal god.
Yep.
I just have to pull two levers? It doesn't like matter what I do?
Yeah. And I'll say two things. First of all, I will say, like, that's the first time I've walked into a boss battle and said, like, yeah, actually I kind of feel like I'm fighting a god. The thing is like 700 feet tall.
Yes.
And everything is a one shot. You just die. The second thing about it is, I just flipped the two levers. At the same time, when all was said and done, I was like, how else was I supposed to do it? Like, there's no way I can, right? There was like, again, like, it sacrificed mechanics for context, world, logical consistency, so maybe it makes it less of a mechanically interesting fight. I was calling it bullshit like 15 minutes ago, but maybe it was the right choice. I respect that they sacrificed the fun maybe and made it bullshit, but it made sense, if you know what I mean.
This is not my favorite version of this fight. It may be my favorite version of this fight in this game, because this game actually does this twice, right? And I don't mean a puzzle. It means it gives you different tools to take down a god, or the equivalent of a god. What's crazy is people love the other one, but this one just feels so much cooler to me. And I do agree with you, because any other way of taking this thing down, swiping at its feet for 5 minutes or swiping at its tail for 5 minutes, probably wouldn't have been as satisfying. Right. So I do give it a hard time, because it is just such a ridiculous fight. And it, like, again, if you have a two-handed weapon, it's just a run. And there's no like check. You don't run into like cultists or like worshippers of this god or anything like that. And there are other bosses in this game where there are cultists in the arena, like they worship this idol. But here they're not there. So, but I do like the fights in Soulsborne that's like, you aren't alone, here's this tool for you.
Right.
But this one's not my favorite, but it is my favorite in Demon Souls.
You said, what was the other one you were thinking of that it does it in Demon Souls?
The Storm King. It's different, completely different, right? But it's like, you're not alone. Here is a tool that makes you capable of beating this. Right. But the Storm King is the other one I was thinking of. Which you just get a sword to take him down.
That makes sense. Yeah.
And for what it's worth, Yorm is 10 times better than Storm King. Sorry. I know that's going to make a lot of people, but Yorm from a lore perspective is amazing. He's just fucking everything.
So when last week you spoke heresy and said you prefer Sigurd to Sigmire, I will say, like, when it culminates in that fight with Yorm, it's like, we have to go kill a friend, it,
because I promised if it got to this point, I would put him down.
Right.
Yep.
Right. Like, yeah, Sigurd is Yorm's like living will. And
Yorm is a noble being. I mean, his story is he's noble. And so again, they get 4 games to pack it in and get it right. Demon Souls, Dark Souls, 4 or 5 games to get it right in Dark Souls 3 with Yorm, whereas Storm King is like, it's very epic. You walk in this arena and there's all these monsters swarming around, and I'm sure we'll talk about this, and I'm going to repeat myself again when we talk about it, but it's also just like, I fought a big dumb thing in the sky and I'm not emotionally attached to it.
Mm-hmm.
And in here, if we bring it back into Demon Souls, I'm more attached to this because it builds towards this, and it's literally called the Dragon God.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah. I will say, like, the first time I played this game, I was extremely frustrated because it felt random at times when I was like, I don't know what I did. I can usually get through in 1 or 2 tries now with patience, but maybe I'm thinking wrong. I just need to go 2-handed and whack it.
Try it. You're going to uninstall your game. You're like, what?
Yeah, I think I'm done with Souls. It's the game that made me quit. But I will say it's
I've beaten this guy 50 times, but the 51st, it's like, fuck this game.
But what I also like about it is that, the skill check is Flame Lurker.
Yes.
So if you get over that, you kind of got your first archdemon. You've kind of beaten your first world.
The skill check is the world, is having the patience to go through this world.
Yeah.
We talked earlier about some endurance fights that come up later in the game. You want to hear them in this episode, but I think Art grabbed it for future content. Where there's one-on-one fights that are very much endurance in this game. But the endurance fight in most of Demon Souls is the worlds. The challenge is 2-1 and learning the weakness of the enemies, and 2-2 and just navigating it and having the patience to find your way through it. And then you're right, there is a skill check with Flame Lurker, but then again, it's just this, you have this very epic fight that ultimately just comes down to not being very difficult, but still feels satisfying.
Right. Yeah. And again, the satisfaction is context, setting, story.
Yep.
And then, and I have a lot of respect for games that have the confidence to, I don't know how to put this, but like, certain RPGs, you can talk your way through the final boss, right? Like,
yeah.
And this isn't literally doing that, but it's the Souls version of doing that, where it's like, if I can just time this, it's not hard. And Demon's Souls does that 3 times. You're aware of 2, where, you
do I have another boss?
You'll find out.
Okay.
But it has the confidence to be like, you know what? Like, the end of World 5 is not going to be hard. It's going to be heartbreaking. But the end of World 5 is not going to be hard. The end of World 2 is going to be annoying, but it's not going to be hard once you figure out the timing. Your reward was beating Flame Lurker. Now it's just having like that denouement, that breath at the end of a story where you're not white knuckling right to the end. You're just having a moment to, and especially even with like the Dragon God, because once you get the 2 ballistas done, you can literally just go pew, pew.
Yeah. You can make that part harder on yourself, but really it's not hard. I mean, he's defeated at that point. It's supposed to be that, but he still has some fight left in him. And the fight only comes about if you want to put your face in yourself in front of the face of a god.
Right. And you can easily time around that, just don't be there when he breathes.
Right.
It's just putting it really feels like you're putting this thing down at that point. There's no tension to it. It's just, you're able to accept that moment for what it is. And I respect games that can do that. That have the confidence to try.
Cool. Yeah. And again, if you were coming through Demon Souls first, like everything up to this point has been you haven't seen anything like this yet.
Right.
Maybe Old King Duran and a surprise like, oh, you don't have to take him down all the way.
Right.
Like if you really like, there is some, and I guess you could go a different order if you wanted, but let's just say you go to 2. This is the first time you're going to be something like that, which would be really cool to experience that. Like you got to experience that not knowing what the hell was going to happen.
Right.
And not knowing there was some alternative to this fight. Think of the sad sack that like bow and arrowed this thing. Or it's like the people who don't equip the right sword for Yorm. It's like
right. Yeah. Cause like my first time through, I get the 2 ballistas fired and I'm like, I did it. And then you see the thing collapse and it's just like, it's dying breaths. It's literally, and you're like, man, you almost feel bad for it, but you have to.
Shocking, because that's I mean, like 1-4 spoilers, 1-4 ends in sadness. They give you a whole fucking elevator ride to reflect on how big a dick you are. 5 is pure sadness. 3 is, I wouldn't say it's sadness, but it's also this like meaninglessness. I can't wait to talk about the end boss of 3. And then, you know, I didn't even think about I guess I'm just a sad or a cold bastard. Like, I didn't think about how sad the end of 2 is.
Yeah. So here's what when I saw the Dragon God collapse and just breathing there in his last things, what I honestly kind of equated it to was, you know, like when a horse breaks its leg and is laying on the ground and you got to go put it down. It's just laying there like, you know, and, you know, it's done and it's heartbreaking. And I feel like unless you're a sociopath named Matt, I'm kidding. You get some kind of emotional response. You know how people feel, Matt? Yeah.
I think the reason it didn't have the emotional response is because there's so many fights in particularly Dark Souls 3 that pull on my heartstrings so well.
Yeah.
Bloodborne does it to a sense, but Bloodborne has a different like whole vibe going on with it that it's not as emotional as much as like, oh, I love this. Whereas Dark Souls 3, like, very emotional. So like they've already reached emotional highs that by the time you wrap back around to Demon God, then it's like,
I've been there. Better.
Right.
That's true.
Yeah.
It is. Did we talk? We must have talked about this in the first one, but just to remind me, what was the first one you played? Your first Souls game?
Technically Dark Souls, but the real one that I really played was Bloodborne.
Okay.
But technically I messed around with Dark Souls some.
But Bloodborne, yeah, has some really emotionally moving aspects to it.
Absolutely. And it, but like the first boss, absolutely not. But the second boss, if you've done everything up to that point, fuck it, I'm just going to talk about it. It's a dad that his daughter doesn't understand what's happening, and you find his dead wife's body in his boss arena.
Yeah.
And it's fucking amazing. And yes, it's emotional, but Dark Souls 3 tends to just do it with the music and the cinematic, like the Princes.
Yeah.
It's like, it's very much, he ain't heavy, he's my brother, and I'm just gonna pick him up, put him on my back,
Yeah.
And it's fucking awesome. So
yeah.
I do have something I think I want to end with, that you tend to ask me on an unrelated podcast. Fuck, marry, kill, Flame Lurker, Armor Spider, and Dragon God.
Okay. That's an interesting thing because there's none that I feel like I have to kill. Like, kill is the one that just erases it from existence.
Armor Spider for me.
I think because it's of so little consequence, like I feel like the story and the context and the emotional weight of the level don't miss a beat if you get rid of the spider. So
you get rid of the environmental storytelling, which is about a 10-second walk of spider webs. Yeah, it's cool. You're like, oh shit, I was in this mine and now it's covered with spider webs, but then they're immediately gone.
Right.
It's like that's kind of all you lose, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So then we're left with the other two, and I'm gonna marry the Dragon God.
Wow. Okay.
Now I say that having just said all it as a mechanical experience, it's bullshit. But all that stuff I don't have an emotional reaction at any point to the Flame Lurker. The first time I did, because I was shaking from, I can't believe I just did that. I just won. But the Flame Lurker, it's a fun roll in the hay. It's a fun fight, right? Mechanically, it's, it's a fun roll in the hay. Where the Dragon God has emotional weight. It has context. It has that gravitas at the end once it's down and you just need to finish it. So I'll take that over the fun roll in the hay, just because I always will prefer story and setting to mechanics in regular tabletop RPGs, everything. We were just talking about Swords of the Serpentine, and that's going to be coming out relatively soon. As the time of this recording, it'll definitely be out by the time this goes up. And we don't know what the mechanics are going to be like, but the setting, oh my God. And I'll take that every time. I'll take mediocre mechanics if I have to get to a great setting or story. And that's the Dragon God for me. How about you?
Well, kill Armor Spider as well. Like I could just take or leave Armor Spider. Armor Spider doesn't mean shit to me. But I thought it would be an easier decision, but you brought up such a good point. But I think that's why Dragon God becomes fuck for me, because it's cool. I mean, I think I agree with everything you said, but that's why I'm able to slot Mary into Flame Lurker.
Because if you want one for the rest of your life, you want it to be mechanically interesting.
Yes, because even though, you said it perfectly, because even though everything you said is exactly right, I'm still playing a video game, and that gravitas is going to wear off at some point. I don't know when, but it's got probably faster diminishing returns in a mechanically interesting fight. And then also for the joke response, fuck World 2, and that's the last thing, and as soon as you're done with him you can say fuck World 2. I don't know, but World 2 not my favorite.
No. As
but also there's things to like enjoy about it. Like I think we've extracted all the there's cool shit here. It's just it doesn't quite pull off everything quite as successful as, and there are parts of like 1, 2 that I don't love, but with how much praise we sing for Boletaria, 2 feels womp womp, and I feel like 2 would probably be even worse on PlayStation 3. I think it gets probably a little bit of a, I bet the remaster helps it significantly.
The remaster, I know there are some people out there who don't prefer it, but it really saved the game for me in a couple levels. 1, it made it possible for me to play again, but 2, like the original does World 5 dirty, and it's completely fixed, and yeah, it's in World 2, like those vistas you get outside, like overseeing the mesatops, and you don't really get that in the PlayStation 3 version. That's part of, I think, the PlayStation 5 where I stopped and I was like, whoa. But like to your point, like, yeah, like World 2, we've been talking now for almost 2 hours, and I know we did the entirety of World 2, but for a world that most of the time when I get to it, I'm just like, ugh. I have to, it's good to remind myself, like when we talk through it, that there's still a lot there that even though I don't always appreciate it now because, you know, I'm playing it for the 4th time, it doesn't mean it's not there. And there's some interesting things. There's some interesting world building, some interesting environmental storytelling, emotional beats, stuff I still don't feel like I understand. It's still got a little mystery to it. Again, the answers are probably out there. Yeah.
To it. Yeah.
Yeah. And again, I always come back to the scale miners, you know, especially in that tunnel in World 2 when you go to the right for the drop down, there's just a row of scale miners and you have to get through them to get to this annoying drop down. But I just saw them and I was like, this is bleak. They're just there for this kind of weird fog created eternity chipping away at a tunnel for no reason, because Boletaria doesn't need the stuff anymore. But they don't know anything different, and that's their existence until you murder them. But then you come back and they keep, you know, because that's the thing, you know, it happens over. It's like Groundhog Day for like the most Nietzsche abyss you can imagine. You know, and you don't get to fall in love with Annie McDowell. You just look back into the Nietzsche abyss and, you know, nothing changes. And I felt such empathy as I murdered them all to get to the drop down, because I still got to get there. It's a video game. But it was one of the first times where I was just like, you know, I'm feeling something here that I did not expect to feel. And yeah. And it started in World 2.
Yeah. I think it takes a different tone. Again, you are an invader in World 1, but they're soldiers, or they're not all soldiers, but there's these crazed, depraved, poor folk. I don't know. You know, like,
right.
It's a joke. But like it feels less personal. You're invading a castle, and so it's okay.
Right.
And I'm not saying it's okay, but it's different, and it strikes a different chord. Whereas now, and I mean, this is going to be a theme through the rest of Demon Souls, and then reiterated through all of Dark Souls.
Right.
Bloodborne takes a different approach, a little bit. I mean, not that it doesn't share tones, but quite a bit different.
Well, and I just want to say one quick thing. Like, I can't say this because I don't know exactly all the details of the other worlds, but like, I never quite felt that way with Boletaria because, you know, getting ahead a little bit, like Boletaria, like they're guilty.
Yeah.
They're the reason why all of this hell is unleashed. World 2, they're innocent. World 5, they're innocent.
They're innocent, and you're in the game at that point. When you're in 1, it's just, this is a video game and I'm invading a castle. Right. And then as the story unfolds, and then again it becomes explicit. But yeah, you're exactly right. You should not feel remorse, and there is no. Yeah, that's good stuff. Yeah. Demon Souls is when you really start peeling back the layers and you spend the time with it. On the other hand, you can just say, oh, this is just a mine level. Oh, this is just a swamp level.
Yeah.
Oh, this is just the, it's hard to ignore 5. I mean, 5 is 5, and it's so ham-fisted. It is what it is. But you could certainly go through the rest of this game and not see the deeper meaning, which when I first started playing Demon's Souls is what I was like, oh, I miss the storytelling of Dark Souls. Which is saying something because that's not the most explicit storytelling in the world. But then when I started to see not just 2-1 as 2-1 and not just 2-2 as 2-2, but to see the story inside of 2-1 and the story inside of 2-2, and then the story of each world, Demon's Souls really comes together. And so it's not just... It's a little less explicit, and you have to put the pieces together more so than the other games. And then look at them. Yes, World 2 supplies Boletaria, but just look at World 2 as its own isolated story. And that alone is an interesting Demon's Souls story. Its connection to the overall story may be a little clouded, and it's hard to have this cohesive story. But when you look at it as one story, then it kind of makes sense. And I think that's true of all the worlds. Again, 5 being the outlier because it's
we'll get there.
So very good art. That was good stuff.
I think it was right to do all of 2 together. We didn't need to parse each one. It's because we don't love it at the end of the day. So it's good but I think we paid it its due. We respectfully discussed it. And I think there's a lot to glean from, peeling back the onion a little bit. So, Matt,
where are we heading next before we sign off? Just so we're on the same page. Cause we kind of toyed around. Now, normally I would head to 3-1.
Mm-hmm. Do you want to go there next? Cause that's where I went next too.
Okay. No,
I went to 3-1.
No, I've not gone there yet, but I can go there.
Okay, yeah. I mean, where did you go in your first playthrough? My first playthrough, I went to 3-1.
3-1 is where I went.
Yeah, so let's go there. And it's tough because in some ways it's the best. So we're sort of like peaking early.
Yeah, 3-1's real good. 3-1 hits a lot of Matt personal notes. It's very that'll be cool to talk about.
All right, so to everybody who's watching this, thank you very much. We are Black Lodge Trivia Night. We are mostly, we say this every time, a tabletop actual play RPG podcast, but we do a lot of other things. But I feel like we're getting more consistent with the RPGs. I think we're getting that on track, and that's the best for me so far. But if you're watching this, you found our YouTube channel, like and subscribe if this is your thing. We always appreciate it. If you prefer audio versions of this kind of stuff, just search for Black Lodge Trivia Night wherever you get your podcasts, and we should show up. And we've got, at the time of this recording, Rosewood Abbey, Cymberum coming back, all sorts of good stuff. So, Matt, thank you very much for jumping in.
The Discord and
I just talked over Matt saying, we got a link to the Discord in the show notes below, and so Matt, thank you very much. This was really good. I appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you, Art. Thank you, everyone. Good night.
Good night. The in-session music was provided by Tabletop RPG Music and composed by Ian Fisher. You can find the Patreon at www.patreon.com/tabletop-rpg-music. That's all one word. Okay, so it's recording. So I heard rumors that you said fuck old King Durant.
Yeah, I mean, like, I love the idea, but to beat him, and there's a million different ways to cheese him, but to actually beat him, look, it's an endurance fight that isn't fun, because even with a shield and even with health, he does a rolling move that just, like, one-shots you at, like, basically any level. And it's just like, oh, cool, I rolled into a pillar and I died. And so it's like, you have to, I'm not a patient player anyways. I get it in Souls games, like, this is a boss fight that challenges you to be patient. I get it. But even things like, who's the Dark Souls 3 dragon from the
Melnir
expansion that everyone hates?
Is it
because
Melnir?
That's close, but that's not what it is. Dark Souls 3 expansion dragon.
Midir.
Midir.
Yeah.
Like, Midir is an endurance fight. He just has so much health. But I kind of enjoyed Midir. And for whatever, Old King Duran is just driving me nuts. And I think it's driving me nuts because I don't think it's a hard fight, but I can't beat it.
Right.
Whereas, like, if I died to Midir, it's like, this is a battle of my endurance and outlasting this guy, where it's like, oh, damn it.
Right.
I just want to beat fucking Duran. Like, I'm at the end game. I'm just cleaning up. I know what I need to do. I just need to go back to and talk to the Maiden in Black, and whatever happens there. I don't know if there's another boss fight or not, but it's like, I'm just doing cleanup stuff. And this guy, he's like the thing keeping me from beating the game.
And when you say, is this just literal cleanup? Or are you trophy hunting?
Yeah.
Nice.
I'm a sucker for that. I realize it doesn't matter at all. It's not important, but I love getting platinum in games that I love.
Yes.
So, like, I know there's a bunch of easy games out there to go get a platinum on, but like, if I truly love a game, Bloodborne, Tomb Raider, I haven't platinum Tomb Raider because there's like bullshit trophies, but doing as much as I can to get that like sense of accomplishment in games that I love, absolutely. And like Dark Souls 3, I haven't platinumed because it's got the Covenant ones, and like, there's not enough online play to get all the Covenants unless you want to like just have a friend come in and help you get them, but you have to collect all the items in like 30 of them. And
Right.
The farming drop rate is atrocious. So yeah, I'm trying to get the ring from Old King Duran by killing them all the way instead of the 75%.
So it's not just getting the sword. You got to drop them.
You got to drop them. And so if you do it in the first encounter, you can like push them somewhere, or if you're a mage, you can poison cloud them.
Oh,
But
okay.
I'm neither of those things. And I'm sure I'll get it at some point again. I'm just not a patient Souls player.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you, and I'm sure it'll come up again when we actually discuss 1-4. The way I originally beat regular King Elant is I couldn't do it. I was tired of getting level drained. And so I went out and I grinded whatever I needed to grind to get Poison Mist. And then I cheesed him.
Oh, you did it through the mist?
I
know
did.
you can like get there and yeah.
Yeah, I cheesed him because I was like, I don't want to quit the game on the last boss, but I can't do it.
He got. I like that fight more. I was starting to get a little frustrated, and I know we're spoiling things. Wherever this conversation ends up, you can preserve it for whatever. I quit trying to block, and I made him 100% a dodge fight.
Oh, interesting.
And it got so much easier.
Yeah.
Even with like, I went and I grinded materials for the shield I was using. I made sure I thought my endurance was high for Demon Souls. And so I have all those things. And then I was like, his moves are very telegraphed. And if I just learn to dodge him, then it's going to be, and that made that fight much easier for me. Basically, once I switched to dodge, I made a stupid dodge and I died once, and then I went back to him and using dodge only, then I just smoked him.
Nice. Very nice. That's the trick. Yeah. Like you said, they're widely telegraphed, especially when he lunges at you and does the sweep. You're just off to the side and you're just like whack, 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 and you're fine.
And Duran is pretty telegraphed too, and he doesn't do anything crazy. It's just, he has so much health and nothing does damage to him. Even like the butcher blade, the meat cleaver. Yeah. And it's just like, I'm just getting greedy. It's like, sure, if I want to fight this guy for 5 minutes, I guess I can, but.
Right. It's sort of like almost a podcast fight. You know, you put something on to listen to and then just, I'm going to be here for an hour.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
You know, mostly pay attention, but doesn't have to be perfect attention.
Well, and then it's frustrated by the fact that I don't have to do this. And it's just like, it's this and character tendency between me and the end of the game.
Nice. I confess, character tendency I'm not as familiar with as world
tendency. Tendency. So there's only one way to get pure white character tendency. Well, there's two ways. You get invaded and you kill the invader, or you get a world to pure black and you kill the butcher, the black version, the black demon version of like the butcher in World 1. That increases your character tendency. Oh, okay. And so there's one of those in each world. And so you have to get everything to pure black, go in there, kill those in specific NPCs, do that 5 times, you have pure white character tendency.
I've also heard waiting for marriage. Is that not true?
Yeah, also will work. Or the Catholic approach.
Right.
If you want to cheese character tendency, you can do the old backdoor.
Nice. All right. So,
nice.
What do you think? Are we ready?
Yeah.
Sort of get it out. Sort of work our
Yeah, you weren't
shoulders
even
a-
recording. Just fucking, this is like Creed Thoughts from The Office.
Right. All right. Exactly. His blog that doesn't actually publish or whatever it is. Yeah. All right.